What's going on, guys? This is Erie Better Beer Bureau, back at you with another side-by-side beer review. I'm Pat.
And I'm Maury. Today we're going to do KBS and Weyerbacher Sunday Morning Stout. You know, the only difference between the two beers is that the KBS has chocolate in it and the Sunday Morning does not, but they're both imperial stouts with coffee and aged in bourbon barrels. They're released a week apart. I think KBS a week before the Sunday Morning. There's a lot of talk about these two beers and how they compare, and we're here to do them side by side and let you know what we think about it.
A really rich coffee aroma on this.
Coffee is the dominant aroma.
But there's a nice like bourbon vanilla underneath it.
There is.
It makes it a very pleasant contrast between the two.
And even though there isn't any chocolate in it, I get chocolate on the nose.
Those dark malts really do add a chocolate character to the aroma here.
Yeah. Coffee's the front runner. And like you said, a little bit of vanilla, bourbon, oak, chocolate. It's a nice smelling beer.
The KBS aroma is definitely a little more subdued than
it is.
Than the
and that surprises me, actually. Smells nice.
Yeah.
Actually, on the aroma, I might say the chocolate is the front runner for me on the KBS. I mean, I'm getting coffee, but it's not as dominant as the coffee.
And I'm surprised. It's almost like a milk chocolate smell.
Yes.
It's not a dark chocolate or a baker's chocolate. It's actually a nice,
wake it up a little bit.
A nice milk chocolate aroma.
Yeah, once I swirled it around now, I'm getting oak, a kiss of bourbon. But I agree with you. Surprisingly, the Sunday Morning definitely has the more aggressive aroma. Cheers.
Cheers.
Sunday Morning.
Wow.
Yeah. It's got a little booze on it.
Yeah.
You know, and this is not my first bottle of this, and you know, I was maybe kind of hoping almost a little bit that this was going to have less booze than the first two, but it's still there.
Yeah, there's up front there's a real mild sweetness the first thing, and then it goes right into that coffee, and you're kind of bombarded by coffee throughout the mid taste on this beer.
Yeah. I get the bourbon barrel and like those hints of like vanilla and stuff and oak on the back end of this beer.
But yeah, the more I'm drinking of it, the more it's almost like a lactose sweetness up front, and the real rich coffee. I mean, really rich coffee taste in the middle, and I am starting to get some of those like oak tannins, you know, and some more vanilla on the back end too.
Are you getting the booze?
Yes, there is an alcohol tang.
That's
on the
what I
back end
mean.
of
Like,
this,
I mean, I just had to throw it out there because I know this is your first time having it. It's not mine. And on all three bottles, now I wasn't on the freshest palate the first couple times around, and I'm on a completely fresh palate today, and I'm still getting that booziness. On this beer.
There's definitely that alcohol tang on the back end, and you even get a little bit of a warming sensation as this goes down.
Bit. Cheers.
Cheers.
For me, upon the first sip, I get a little bit more of that chocolate coming across the palate on the KBS.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just because it's now in comparison to that Sunday Morning.
Right.
But there's, again, just a really rich, like, milk chocolate flavor to this beer that I didn't think was as pronounced in previous versions of KBS.
Both of these beers are on the chilly side, and it's chilly out here, so I don't think they're going to warm up.
Actually, for the KBS, on the back end, I'm getting a lot more of a nice, rounded bourbon and oak flavor.
Me too. I was just going to say that. I get more oak overall in the KBS. I think they both have a bit of like a boozy alcohol to them, but I think the KBS is a bit smoother than the Sunday Morning, in my personal opinion.
It's more pronounced in the Sunday Morning.
Right. All right, after drinking these two beers side by side like this, they're close, real close. You know, I want to say just first up front real quick, this is my second bottle of 2015 KBS, and I also had it on tap. I feel like, you know, that it's a little dialed back this year. You know, it's still great, but I'm not getting a lot of bourbon as much as past years, and then usually when it's really fresh, you get a ton of coffee. I just feel like everything's just dialed back a notch. And I drank a 2014 recently, and you know, I don't know if it's just the age that brings out the chocolate and stuff more, but I won't go on a rant. But this year's KBS to me is sitting at about a 4.25, which is a little lower than I'd normally rate it. The Sunday morning for me is really close, but I'm going to give it a 4. And the reason why is because I get like almost like a phenol alcohol taste throughout the sip, actually, that I feel like just takes away from the other flavors in the. Those flavors are great, but if that alcohol flavor wasn't there, this would be an amazing beer. It's still a really, really, really good beer. 4, and the KBS gets a 4.25.
All right. I'm actually going to give these both beers the same score of 4.25 out of 5, which is what I was thinking even, you know, before you gave your score here.
Sure.
Boldness, the Sunday morning stout has it. This year, anyway, is blown away the KBS in terms of boldness. You know,
particularly on the coffee.
Particularly on the coffee. You know, and there's even the bourbon though is I feel a little more prevalent in the back end.
Yeah.
And it still has that little, right in the front, that nice sweetness, that milk chocolatey sweetness in the up front that really serves to help balance this whole beer out. It's bold, it's aggressive. Like Maury over here, I do wish that it had a little bit less of that alcohol tang on it, because if it was just like an actual bourbon booziness on it, I think it would be fantastic. But there's more of like a straight, like a distilled alcohol, on flavor on this beer, and so I think that's really the only thing, like you said, distracting me from giving it an even higher score. The KBS, again, a 4.25 out of 5. Still a great beer, but yes, it does seem toned down compared to previous years. Yeah. More milk chocolate up front, less roastiness, less bourbon, like actual bourbon.
I agree.
And vanilla flavors. Now, it does have the Sunday morning beat in terms of oakiness and overall barrel character, I think. But overall, they're fairly equivalent. It's really, on this one, going to come down to what you're looking for in your beer.
All right, guys, there you have it. Till next time.
Cheers.